You know that feeling when you think you've nailed everything? The training, the race prep, and then you don't get race day results, the ones that you are hoping for, expecting. Yep, I have been there too, my friend. Welcome back to Your Running Coach with GMacSpurr. I'm Gillian, a running mindset strategist, coach, and your running BFF. If you find yourself doing all of the things, ticking every box, following the plan, and then wondering why you didn't get the running or race day results you hoped for, then this episode is for you, my friend. Because today we're talking about how it's often one small thing that stops us. A couple of weeks ago, I told you how I decided to take a break from podcast. I even told my podcast editor I was pressing pause. And then just a couple of hours before the usual posting time, I found myself recording an episode anyway. You can listen to the episode here. It's called What Consistency Really Looks Like, Showing Up Even When You Don't Feel Like It. Since then, I've been testing a new to me podcast platform. It's been going pretty smoothly until last week. I did all the steps right. I recorded, edited, uploaded, added the date and time for launch, and then went about my evening. The next day, my husband mentioned that the new episode hadn't shown up on YouTube. Oh my goodness, cue the face of Simba in The Lion King when he sees the stampede of wildebeest. That was me. Instantly, I knew what had happened. I hadn't toggled the frickin' schedule button. Gosh darn it, one tiny step, the simplest but most important thing, missed it. And just like that, the whole process fell apart. I was annoyed, obviously, but it was also a really great reminder. Because this is exactly what I see with runners all the time. You can be doing all the right things, the long runs, the strength sessions, the nutrition, the rest, and still not get the results you want on race day. And more often than not, it's not because you're lazy or unmotivated or unable to get the results you dream of. It's because of one missed piece, one toggle that hasn't been pushed. Now, you may know what your one missing piece is, and if you do, you know you got to do the thing, and it will all fall into place. You just got to do it. You know that, right? If you don't know what's going on, though, then here are some of the most common blips that runners are doing that stops them from achieving their race day goals. Now, the first thing, and probably the most common, I see it all the time in runners, is they're running too fast. And I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but so many people run the same pace for each of their runs, or run most of their runs like they're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. Regardless of what you're training for, I'd always tell you to include at least a couple of runs each week at a comfortable, easy pace. Why? Why don't I want you running full out every single time? Because those easy runs are where your body actually adapts. They build your aerobic base, strengthen connective tissue, and improve efficiency. Without them, all the harder sessions just pile on fatigue and frustration. I've seen it with runners who are doing all of their runs at a tempo pace, a pace where their breathing is really heavy, that they're pushing their body just that little bit. And just by adding a couple of easy runs in each week, a month later, they step out their plateau and start seeing results. Easy runs are often the biggest gains that you're missing. Now, without knowing you or your running situation, I would recommend you have one steady run a week. That is at a comfortable pace that you could keep up for longer than the prescribed distance. So your breathing is a little heavier than normal, normal being walking around doing just general movement. So your breathing isn't that much heavier than normal. It's a comfortable pace that you would be able to certainly say the odd sentence or so to somebody that you're running with, that you're not particularly out of breath, but you are definitely moving your body more than a walk. So one of those a week. And then one that's a comfortable, easy pace. So what I mean by that is you are able to have full conversations. Your breathing is not heavy at all. And it's at least a minute, if not 90 seconds slower per kilometre or mile than the steady pace that we just talked about. Seriously, slow down your paces. If you're running all of your runs at the same pace, that's your one little tweak that you need to make. Another one is underfueling. Even small deficits can derail recovery and performance. If you aren't giving your body enough fuel before, during, or after your runs, all the training in the world won't translate into results on race day. I had a runner come to me earlier this year who logged every kilometre, but underfueled every single one of her runs. She was getting so frustrated because she was exhausted after each run. Like, I'm talking lying on the sofa for the rest of Sunday, feeling like she's dragging her ass through the weeks. And she just wasn't making progress. She was exhausted, falling out of love with running. And just a few tweaks to her mid-run nutrition unlocked a whole new level in her. She had energy throughout the days and energy on her runs. And again, without knowing you or your running situation, if you're training for a half or a full marathon, I highly recommend that you are eating something every 30 to 40 minutes throughout your long runs. So runs that are longer than an hour or about 13K. Got to be eating consistently and sticking to that plan. Another one is mindset, and it is a biggie. And it's not just pep talks or positive thinking. Your mindset shapes every decision on the run. How you pace, how you push through discomfort, how you respond when the going gets tough. Mental resilience and cognitive flexibility are often the exact thing separating runners who plateau from those who break through. I worked with a runner who always hit a mental wall around about 14K in the half marathon distance. And once we focused on mindset strategies and visualization, suddenly they were running negative splits for the first time. Mindset is not optional. It is a performance multiplier. The brain is often the limiting factor before your legs give out. So what stories are you telling yourself about your runs, about your training, and about your running goal? Then there's running the wrong runs, especially when you're following a group or club plan. So what I mean by this is if you don't have a personalized plan for yourself, you've got a free plan online, you're using an app that doesn't know you, or you are going to a local run club. If that plan doesn't suit your individual needs, you might be doing the runs, but actually not doing the runs, not running your way. Training programs are templates. They don't know you, your recovery, injury history, life stresses, even your goals. I had a client who previously was doing 2 runs a week with a local run club and 1 solo run. Year after year after year after year, she signed up for half marathons, wanting to achieve a sub 2, and it never happened. It was because of that generic group training plan she was following. It wasn't made for her. So once we switched to a plan I created for her that was aligned with her individual strengths, she flew. And that dream of sub 2, well, she got a 156 in her next half marathon race. So if your plan feels off every week, if you're just not feeling it, it's like it's dragging you along, trust yourself over the group or trust yourself over that training plan. If it doesn't feel right, it's not right. And don't get me wrong, run clubs are amazing for community, but you're unique. You got to run your own way. Skipping runs. Without adjusting race expectations is another subtle trap. Life happens, runs get missed, and that is totally fine. We're not going for perfection here. But if you skip sessions and you don't adjust your race goal or pacing strategy, frustration and disappointment follow. One runner I recently chatted to skipped 2 weeks of runs and tried to cram everything back into the next week. They ended up exhausted and, quite frankly, on the verge of injury. But that remainder of the training cycle was just off for her. She was just so focused on getting back to where she should have been in order to achieve her original goal. Small, deliberate adaptations often yield better results than punishing yourself. Race day isn't about perfection, it's about strategic preparation. So give yourself some grace and kindness. Skipping runs is okay. Just be true to yourself. Are your race goals based on the training you had or the training cycle you'd planned for? Finally, not listening to your body when injury or illness strikes is huge. Listen to your body. It is telling you so much stuff. We need to pay attention to it. If an injury comes along, we need to assess what we're doing so that injury gets healed quickly and it doesn't return. And if we're getting ill, we need to support our body so it has the energy to heal. And recovery and adaptation are where results actually happen, not in sheer volume. I had a client who felt a small twinge in their knee, took a week off, did modified sessions, and because of that short pause, avoided a 6-week forced break later, which they would have been heading down the road for. Respecting your body's warning signals isn't slacking, it's advanced training strategy. Elite runners get results because they train smart, not just hard. So if you take nothing else from this episode, listen to your body. It's fine if you take a break because you're not feeling well. It's fine to rest and recover if you've got aches and pains. You're not going to fall behind. Like I said, you just need to do a tweak to what your race day expectations are. The point is, success really comes from doing more. It comes from noticing the small, crucial details that are holding you back and fixing them. And that's exactly what I help runners do in my one-on-one coaching container. Now, if you're new around here, every episode I give you some journal prompts. So go grab some pen and paper or use your notes app on your phone. These are going to take a few minutes for you to dive into. So I'll give you the questions. You can pause me as I go through them and write down your answers, or do them after you've listened to this whole episode. Okay, ready to go? Okay, number 1. Start by looking at your training over the past month. What's one thing you've been doing all the time that hasn't been helping you achieve your goals? Are there any easy runs, recovery days, or fueling strategies that you've been skipping or rushing? How might doing them consistently change your results? So we're going to be looking at our training cycle with no judgment. Where are there gaps or where are there opportunities for you to shed a light on? Number 2, think about your mindset during training and racing. Where do you notice negative self-talk, doubt, or hesitation creeping in? This is a really powerful prompt because patterns are so important for you to have awareness of, because if you know there's a pattern, when and how it crops up, it makes it easier when it does show up for you to be able to work through it. Number 3, are you following a plan or group schedule that doesn't actually fit your body, your goals, or your lifestyle? And not to say that you can give up your run club, but honestly, is it serving you? Next question. When you miss runs, do you adjust your expectations and pacing, or do you try to force everything back in? And have you noticed any niggles, fatigue, illness that you've ignored or pushed through? How could paying attention to those signals change your training outcome? If you've listened to many of my episodes before, you'll maybe be thinking these questions are a lot longer than normal. And yes, you are absolutely right. Normally they are one line. But we are digging through some stuff today. Take a few minutes to write down whatever comes to mind. Again, no judgment. There's no right answer. We're just shining a light on what you're currently doing, so then you can make adjustments and actually enjoy your training cycles. Enjoy standing at the start line of your dream race, trusting that you actually have done the things that you needed to do in order to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. I've got one-on-one coaching spaces open right now for runners training towards spring or summer half marathons and marathons. If you've got your eyes on a sub-2 half or a sub-4 marathon or any big race goal, let's find your missing piece. We'll figure out what's been holding you back, where the gaps are, and how to make progress without adding more to your already full plate. You can grab a time in my calendar this week or next. I'll drop the link in the show notes for you. And if you're not running right now, but you do want to reconnect with your body and movement again, start small and joyfully with 31-31. It's 31 days of intentional movement that helps you rebuild trust with your body one day at a time. And again, grab the link for 31-31 in the show notes. We begin January 1st, so secure your spot today. Whether it's recording a podcast or training for a race, success rarely comes from doing more. It comes from noticing what's missing and choosing to fix that one small thing. Thanks for listening. Happy running. See you next week. Bye for now.